flow. I did my research and I have some 16 pre-programmed questions, but I might not ask any of them. We'll just see how it goes. I like to be over-prepared and just let it happen. I had one interview last week that I felt just like our energies are not the same. Like you and I feel like we could talk for days.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like she would give answers that were not expansive. Yeah. And there was like all this dead air that I had to cut out when I was doing the tech at the end. Like, really? You're a psychiatrist, you're a therapist, you're a couples counselor, you're a dating coach. Like, what the fuck?
Get it together.
Answer more, I don't know. I don't even know where I found her, but I found her somewhere. I don't remember. Whatever. Anyway. Okay, so this is just audio that gets launched as a podcast, but as part of the perks for my Patreon, I'm going to put up the videos on a podcast dedicated YouTube channel.
Cool.
So those will be available, but only for the select few who, well, hopefully for a lot who choose to support
sponsor
and join. And I've got all these perks and art things that they're going to get and books and whatever. Anyway.
Exciting.
Yeah. I hope people join. I have this, well, that's a self-limiting belief, Marcy. Let that go.
Yeah. People are going to join. You just got to share it, right? Share the opportunity.
Exactly. And I have to look at it that way, like I'm sharing all these things with them, not that they're helping me out. Exactly. Which of course they're going to do anyway. So anyway, these podcast interviews always feel like therapy sessions for me.
Let's do it.
I love it. All right, let me turn my timer on. Okay. You ready? I love the window behind you, by the way.
Thank you.
It's gorgeous. Is it actually stained glass or is it decal?
It's a decal.
It looks great. Really wonderful. Beautiful colors. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Permission to Heal. I am Marcy Brockman, and I am thrilled that you are here. Today, I have Christy Primmer with me from Wyoming, Ontario, Canada. Christy and I met through Be Seen Accelerator Program with Chris and Jen and had a phenomenal time figuring out how to connect and make ourselves be seen, I suppose. Christy Primmer is a Canadian author, a TV host of Women Who Lead, which is a Canadian TV show, may be in the United States soon, registered mental health counselor and success coach for women. Christy founded her company, Primetime Consulting Services Incorporated, in 2011, it's 10 years ago already, with the intention of providing services and products that educate and empower women to get back in the driver's seat of their own lives, which is what we are all about here at Permission to Heal. She teaches women how to reclaim their power through practicing self-care, getting confident AF, we're not going to say those words, maybe, and create the life and business they desire. Christy has always been a writer and a speaker, winning public contests from a very young age. She always loved to help others. When she lost her job and declared she would never put her life, income, lifestyle, or mental health in the hands of somebody else ever again. As an advocate for her son and other children who live with rare physical disabilities, she is showing others what is possible. Anything you put your mind to. Christy is passionate about the power of words, advocating for others who cannot or do not know how to use their voice. She loves helping women love themselves from the inside out. Welcome, Christy.
Woo! Thank you, Marcy. What a mouthful, eh?
What a mouthful. Absolutely. But fabulous, great stuff. You and I have a lot in common. It's very cool. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm really excited to, bring some value and share. And I've been loving what you've been doing with this podcast series. So I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm having the time of my life with this whole thing. I'm meeting so many amazing people and talking about such wholehearted, deep, amazing things that are so inspiring. And I am a privilege to have these conversations and share them out with the world. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I start or try to start each of the podcasts with my 6 quick questions, just to get the ice broken. But we've been talking for a few minutes before this even started. No ice is even here at all. So,
Nope.
but we'll start this way anyway. So what 5 words would you use to describe yourself?
5 words to describe myself. Okay, I'm going to start with spiritual warrior,
Ooh.
a firecracker, intense, smart, and intentional.
I love this list. You are a firecracker. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's actually one of my nicknames.
Really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Because you're probably like that all the time.
Most of the time, I'll tell you a little secret right off the hop. I'm an introvert at heart. I love my alone time.
Okay.
A lot of it. So I need probably, 5-6 hours minimum a day alone, doing all the things I need to do for myself. And then when I'm on, I'm on.
Yeah. I relate to that. I think that, like on the Young Myers-Briggs inventory, I'm like an ENFJ, but I'm like an EINFJ. Like I'm on the cusp of the introvert, extrovert thing. And I think I get a lot of my energy definitely picks up when I'm with other people whose energy is also positive and upbeat.
Yeah, for sure.
But because I am a teacher during the day and I'm with so many people and I have to be on all the time, that I really relish the time that I have alone. It recharges me. Like if I don't have enough alone, quiet time, even if I'm working the whole time, but I don't want to have to engage other people, just because it then calms my whole nervous system.
Yeah.
Anyway, I asked you a question and I wound up talking. Always happens. What is your favorite way to spend a day?
My favorite way to spend a day is definitely easing into the day with meditation, a couple cups of coffee, journaling, and some kind of movement exercise. And then doing whatever I want.
Right. Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Some days it's a lot of work tasks, and other days it's reading a book and, checking in with my team, or obviously family is first, making sure everyone, that I need to take care of is taken care of. But really starting my day with ease and, getting into flow before I do anything is what's really important to me.
Yeah, that's helpful. I don't like the mornings where I oversleep the alarm and I wake up like, ah, and then run,
Right.
Just hit the ground running. It makes me crazy. It like sets the whole day up for stress. I like a slow morning, but I get up at 5 a.m. as it is. So I can't go earlier. It's just crazy. What is your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, definitely skating on the rink at the ballpark that my dad and the firefighters would create for all of us little village kids.
You mean ice
Yeah.
skating, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, there are a
Yeah.
lot of
I'm
kids.
not, so I grew up in a small village, and the firefighters would go down and make the ball diamond, the ice rink for the winter.
Wow.
And it was a time I played baseball all my life, and very successful career in baseball actually, but it was a time where I got to just put on my skates and have fun with the boys. And it's my favorite memory because at that age there was no division of, oh well, you're a boy so you have to do this, and you're a girl so like we all just hung out. We were like, there was like 10 of us. So that's definitely my favorite childhood memory.
Wow. That's very
And
vivid. I can totally picture the whole thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I was the youngest kid in the group, and I remember always being the pain in the butt, being like, my dad made this rink. I was just
Better
so
be
proud.
nice to me. My dad made this
Right?
for us.
Exactly.
My father was the director of a day camp that I used to go to when I was very small. And I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. And I remember feeling like my dad was like the king of the country, because my dad's the director, like I
Right?
thought he was all that in a bag of chips. And therefore I was too, Meanwhile, I was like 4 years old and like Like he would come into our little class and read a story like before quiet time or whatever. I don't barely remember. And he'll tell a story that I used to get mad at the other kids for trying to sit on his lap. Like, no, that's my daddy.
Right? Territorial.
Oh my
Love
God,
it.
very.
I love it.
It was funny. I hadn't thought about that in a really long time since you gave your story. That's weird how the
Cool.
memory works. Wow. Okay. What is your favorite meal?
My favorite meal is definitely broccoli, chicken Alfredo without the pasta. So I
Okay.
make the pasta for my son and husband, but
Right.
I just like douse the broccoli and the chicken with like all the pepper and all the Alfredo sauce
Okay.
with a nice glass of red wine. That's definitely my favorite meal.
Ooh, that sounds really good. I would put the pasta
Yeah.
on there. Maybe
I did that
chickpea
for too
pasta
long.
so that it's protein.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Good idea.
I found it comes in a box actually from Whole Foods. It's like all organic vegan macaroni and cheese with
Ooh.
chickpea pasta, and then the cheese is totally non-dairy vegan. I don't know what could be styrofoam. I don't know what it's made out of, and I kind of don't even want to know what it's made out of, but it's fabulous.
I'm
And I
going to
don't feel
try
the
that.
slightest bit guilty because it's all just protein.
Yeah, I'll have to try that and I'll report back to you.
Okay. It's awesome. Okay, what one piece of advice would you like to give your younger self?
Oh, geez, definitely just go for it. Stop worrying about fitting in the box everyone wants to put you in and just go for it.
Did you feel like other people had all these expectations for you?
Well, yeah, actually, so that I felt like there were unspoken expectations. And then also, I really struggled with self esteem and confidence as a young kid, and like many of us do. And I definitely didn't go for a lot of opportunities or whatever it might be because I held myself back. I mean, I did a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I would definitely tell my younger self, like, just go for it.
Yeah. I had the same issues. Didn't really trust the voice that was inside me and was really sort of so afraid of failure, as a young
Hmm.
adolescent, that I held myself back from trying things that I think in my heart of hearts I knew I would be good at, but was still afraid to do.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just realized that being shy and being a wallflower and not trying things was not going to get me anything. And I just had this conscious decision to not do that anymore. I realized that the earth was not going to open up and swallow me whole, that nothing bad was going to happen. Worst comes to worst, I didn't get the thing that I was trying for, but that I would still be fine. And
Yeah.
and I just ripped the band-aid off and forced myself to try things and to engage in conversations or audition for things that I wanted to do. And nothing bad ever happened. It
Right.
fine.
We make it seem so scary in our head. And hindsight's always 2020, right? Like I'm
Right.
obviously a lot older now and more seasoned,
Right.
but there was a lot of different things that I know for a fact I didn't do it because I was afraid of being embarrassed or what people would think, or, you know, maybe dreaming too big.
I
Now
don't think
look at me.
right. And I don't think that there's a way to dream too big.
No, I agree. But
You
when we're
know?
little girls, it almost feels like, especially depending on where we come from or what's going on in our home at the time, it's like we often shrink ourselves without even knowing that's what we're
Oh, of
doing,
course.
right?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't
So
know.
I love these questions, by the way. These are good.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, here's the last one. What is the one thing you most would like to change about the world?
Oh, I'd love to eradicate Erb's palsy, brachial
Okay.
plexus injury. That's what my son lives with. It happens at birth,
Oi.
and it's preventable. And long story short, people can Google it. I'm not going to get into all the details right now, but that's one of my life missions, is to educate and eradicate Erb's palsy, brachial plexus injuries, so other children do not have to live with the physical disabilities and limitations that are preventable.
What could have been done to
In my
save from
situation,
that?
I could have had a cesarean.
Really, it was just the
Basically,
birth method.
yeah, I had a very traumatic delivery. And so I, unlike a lot of people, I found my only support group is in the UK. People don't want to talk about it in US or Canada because of the lawsuits doctors face. I actually wrote about this in my book that's about to be released, and it was the hardest chapter to write. I sobbed every time I went back to it, but
Oh,
I chose not to sue the doctor. I have a very faith-based way of thinking, and I believe that the doctor saved myself and my son. However, now that I know what I know, my son's 20 years old, I know that it could have been prevented if there were certain measures in place that had have happened. Um, so that's one of my life missions, is to educate and eradicate Erb's palsy.
wow. Well, I think that's a great one. I didn't
Thank
know
you.
that there were things that could happen during the actual birth process that would
Yeah.
cause irreparable
Basically,
things.
basically in a nutshell, the baby gets stuck. Shoulder dystocia usually occurs. The baby's stuck, and the doctors have to get them out as quickly as possible. And sometimes they don't have time to grab the vacuum or forceps. And what happens is it severs and tears certain nerves in the neck, and then it affects movement of the arm and function of the whole side of the body. Some children have it to the impact that they have lack of oxygen to the extreme where they have developmental delays.
Really?
Yeah, my son, so stats right now report 1 in 2,500 births. And it's something that I am just starting to publicly speak about because it causes a lot of emotion in me, of
How could it
course.
not? Of course.
And my son has given me consent and permission that I can actually talk a bit about it from my perspective, of course, but
Sure.
it's something that education makes all the difference. People confuse it with cerebral palsy, which it is not. There is a
Right.
bit of a palsy with the hand. But because I didn't listen to certain specialists and I advocated and prayed and fought for healing, my son's had about a 60% recovery and continues to experience miracles. So anything
Mazel
is
tov.
possible.
That's
Yes.
fabulous.
Yeah,
That's huge.
absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, both my kids were very breech, like totally
Okay.
upside down and backwards. And we tried turning them while they were still in utero, and that totally didn't work. And so I had C-sections with both kids.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, they thought that maybe she could be delivered the old-fashioned way, but the list of emergency horrible things that could
Mm-hmm.
happen with a VBAC delivery that they wanted me to sign off on, like if all of these, like 40 things, including maternal or fetal death, that I wouldn't sue them for, I was like,
Yeah.
hell
No
freak
way.
no. Are you
No, no way.
nuts? No way. No way.
Yeah.
You screw this up, you ain't gonna have a career anymore, like do not screw this up.
I
Um,
love it.
and so I chose to have a C-section. The first one with my son went so badly, it took 6 months for the incision to close. I mean, it was a
Wow.
disaster. And I lived through that and he was fine. So I figured by the time my daughter was born, we
Do it
survived the
again.
crappy, it can't be worse.
Yeah.
And it was healed in, like 2 weeks. I was totally fine. So
Wow.
it was a
Interesting.
huge difference. Huge
Yeah.
difference. I wound up with an infection. It was just this nasty, I think it was a full moon. I know that sounds insane, but
No,
there
I
were
grew up
so
with moon
many
teachings.
women. You do?
I grew up with moon teachings. Yeah.
So yeah, there were so many women giving birth at the moment that my C-section was scheduled at this particular hospital. There was a woman crowning in the waiting room.
Oh, geez.
The nurses were running everywhere, and the OR where they had scheduled my C-section stood empty for hours before they could get to me. And then because it was a teaching hospital and I was a naive idiot, I allowed a random group of people to
Resident
watch,
doctors.
who knows, to watch the
Yeah.
C-section. They're like, oh, do you? I'm like, okay, I didn't know that I could say
Yeah.
no.
Right.
And I was a people pleaser for the first 40 years of my life. So of course I'm going to say yes. And so
Mm-hmm.
my son was delivered on St. Patrick's Day. And so
Oh, wow.
while I'm laying out, flayed open, literally, there's a
Hmm.
group of people off to the back on the left side of me having a conversation about where they're going for St. Patty's Day drinks.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm having the single most pivotal moment of my entire life. Shut the
Hmm.
F up.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
So that's like
Wow.
clouded my memory, whatever. But I think because there were all of those people there and things got delayed and it was a chaotic full moon of a day, I wound up with an infection that was a mess, with the worst
Yeah.
pain. I would never in a bazillion years even wish that upon my enemy. It was so awful.
Wow. And you know what? It's all the things that we as women that have had the privilege of, carrying babies to term and delivering babies and all those things that a lot of people don't talk about. And that's why I love that you shared that. And that's why I really want to educate and eradicate, because I was told the only way that my son would have had the injuries if he was over 8 pounds, but he was just 7 pounds. So there's so much education. And of course, I was like you at the time, I didn't know it at all what I know now.
Right.
And
How could
it's hard
you?
to advocate. Yeah, you can't advocate for yourself if you don't know what the heck you're talking about or what's going on. So
Right. Or what you're allowed
yeah,
or what your rights are or
exactly.
any of it. My daughter was
Yeah.
born with a congenital malfunction in the one of her ureters. And she kept getting UTIs. She was less than a year old. And, I quickly had to learn everything I could about nephrology.
Yeah.
As a high school English teacher, I now had to be
Wow.
educated so that I could have conversations with her pediatrician and specialists and talk about tests and all sorts of protocols that the American Pediatric Association wanted. And and granted, the internet is a dangerous thing in the hands of a creative genius. And there were things that I shouldn't have learned because they made me crazy. And
Yeah.
the pediatrician was just like, okay, mom, calm down.
Yeah.
All of what we are doing is trying to prevent that monstrous outcome. We're not going
Yes.
there yet,
Refrain from Googling.
Right, right. WebMD is not your friend.
Right. Oh
It's a
boy.
wonderful service. I don't mean to disparage them, but if you're
No.
looking for calm information without your imagination running amok, don't go there first.
Right.
Right. That's my little caveat. And she wound up being fine. It just took an extra year for all of the parts to grow where they were supposed to grow.
Yep.
So that was that. He looked at me and he said, if there was going to be a congenital defect that I would want for my baby, this is the one I would choose. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
That's actually reassuring. You know what? I wish more specialists, doctors, quote unquote experts would actually be able to say those kinds of things, because
Yeah.
as moms, any new parent, dads inclusive
Yeah,
or included, we freak out a bit. We don't know.
exactly.
We don't know.
That one sentence calmed me down. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, if you know all that you know, and this is what you would choose if you had to choose something, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And she's fine. She's almost 20. She's perfectly fine and healthy and everything's great. Knock wood. Okay. So let's get into this. I've seen a couple of episodes of your Hump Day show that you do with your husband, which
Yeah.
I just love the dynamic between the two of you and the energy and just such exceptionally valuable information. And you guys are just magnetic to watch.
Thank you. Anthony and I have been doing that for almost 6 years. Every Wednesday, there's the odd time. I mean, through the pandemic, I was in Florida at our place there. He was home in Canada, so it didn't happen.
Right.
But we love to do it, and it's a lot of fun. We, do it totally unscripted, and it's
I mean, you
been
have an idea what you're going to
amazing.
talk about, but
We let each other each week, like literally half an hour before, okay, what's the topic? Okay, this, pick the song, okay, pick this. And then we go at it. And it's been really amazing for us as a couple and individuals to boost not only our own confidence and communication together, but our heart is to serve as many couples as we can to create their best relationship, whatever that looks like for them. So yeah, it's a good time.
well, the latest one that I watched, you were talking about affection in couples,
Yes.
and that you were talking about love languages and how to show physical affection that was beyond the sexual nature of
Bedroom.
a marital relationship. Um,
Mhm.
and it was just did you get a lot of like feedback from the people who watched it about, because you asked a lot of questions,
Yes.
and I was talking to you, but you weren't not hearing me because you were in my computer, it wasn't a Zoom. So
Yeah, we average at minimum a few thousand views up to like 9,000 views per episode, and it keeps growing. And my inbox is inundated both on Instagram and on Messenger, my business page. And it's always amazing to see it's all over the world, people coming from all over the world. And it's amazing to see what their takeaways are, or additional questions or topic suggestions they have, or how, a lot of women will message us and be like, my husband has started watching this with me. We get, our beverage, whether it's a tea, a coffee, a water, a glass of wine, whatever it is, and
right.
we sit and watch it, and we can talk now from your points. We have now conversation pieces, and it's just
What
been
better
really,
compliment is that? That's
yeah,
fabulous.
it's exactly, it's amazing. I cry a lot, and I love celebrating growth and other people's, transformations. And so it's been such a rewarding endeavor. And it literally started with just me saying to my husband, all right, dude, you're gonna do this with me. And he was like, no, 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 and I'm like, come on, you stand in front of a classroom of students that probably have,
Right.
grade 9 to 12 students, do the math, they have all their own things going on. And like, if you can do that,
Right.
you can do a show from our own living room with no one else here but us. So
Right. Right. And then it's like you guys are having a conversation and you're just letting us listen.
yeah, yeah, it's fun. I love it. I love it.
That's very cool. It's very cool. Yeah, there are so many relationships. It started to get me to think about my family's, the couples relationships, and my friends' relationships, and the relationships I've been in, and my marriage. And there are a lot of people who don't touch one another, like incidental, casual touching, which
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm such a physical person that this social distancing thing and not being able to hug people or touch them, put my arm on, it's killing me. Like I'm going to
Hmm.
like awkwardly hug everybody I know when this friggin' thing is over. But I don't understand how people don't do that. But there are so many families, even with their
Yeah.
kids, are not physically affectionate.
Yeah. And one of the reasons, just I want to touch on this quickly, is in my private practice with the couples counseling that I'm privileged to work, the couples I'm privileged to work with. So many times when they come to me and they're like, you know what, we're on the verge of divorce, or something's got to change, or this isn't working, I always ask them, how is your communication in and outside of the bedroom? Because there are so many couples that are still, I mean, maybe not as often as one partner would like, but still being intimate and active sexually, but they have no eye contact. They're not holding space for each other. They don't touch, they don't hug, they don't greet each other with a friendly hello or kiss or anything. And it's
It's
like,
just grinding of naughty bits. It's not actual love making.
yeah. And I'm like, you have zero emotional connection. So no wonder you're feeling empty. So let's work on
Right.
that. And that's why I got to pick that topic. And I was like, this is something I'm seeing a lot, especially in the pandemic. Couples that are just connecting. One's doing Zoom calls from his office, one's in the other room. One might be leaving the house to go to work. Like there's so many different scenarios. And
Yeah,
it's
we're
like,
on
you know
a totally
what?
different schedule. I'm up at 5 and I'm teaching all day. And my husband, when he's working, is up earlier than me and comes home later, but he's been out of work since early December. And so
Yeah.
he's on like my summer schedule. We're both night owls. So he's up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm getting up at 5. So we're
Yeah.
not even in bed at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're physically always touching and hugging and kissing and whatever. But like there was something that you said about, do you throw your legs over your partner when you're sitting on the couch watching TV? And I thought,
Yeah.
oh my God, we're doomed, but we're not, because he sits on one end and I sit on the other. And it just happens to be that's where we're comfortable. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with not wanting to be next to one another.
Right.
I just want to stretch my legs out and he wants to sit directly in front of the TV, and they happen to just not be next to each other on the couch. So
Yeah. It is what it is,
it
right?
is what
But
it is.
yeah, good feedback on that episode for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's get into this. So you are a couples counselor, a registered mental health counselor. So you see people well, not in an office now, but you do counseling one-on-one, like therapy.
Yeah, one-to-one, and then obviously with the couples. I've actually transitioned though. I'm down. I did that for 9 years fully in my own private, well, obviously much longer than that, but 9 years in my own private practice. And now I'm doing a lot more coaching. So couples coaching and one-to-one women coaching. I'm still registered. I'm still a registered counselor. And, I do a lot of different things with that. But the coaching has been far more liberating because there's certain boundaries for professional ethics, which I hope everyone's following if they're a licensed therapist or registered counselor. But I do that. I just am not doing it as much right now.
So what's the difference in involvement? I've been in therapy for most of my adult life, but I've never actually seriously consulted a coach before. What's the difference?
So in coaching, it's very much basically the client's obviously in control. Not that they're not in the treatment plan for counseling, but it's just a different vibe. There's things that come up with the inner work and therapy, which for me, I don't think every coach should be doing this if they don't have the experience or qualifications.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a bonus my clients get because we can deep dive and do all the things that need to be done to heal past trauma and pain and shame and to create new patterns and thoughts.
That would get in the way of somebody's business growth or somebody's own personal growth. Right.
Exactly. But I get to do it in a different way. So usually I become very close friends with my clients. Whereas in counseling practice, no, I mean, they can't see my Facebook content. Absolutely.
Yeah. There has to be for that to work, that therapeutic relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. And
except in my case with my therapist, but that's
another story.
Well, we're quite good for, she's old enough to be my mom, and my mom passed away. And, we talked a little bit before this about my crazy relationship with my mother, but if I have to pay Barbara to be my Jewish mom, good with that. I just love her. She came to my wedding. She endorsed my book for being I just love her.
And that, what can happen, I guess for here is a little I have to be very careful. And I did my due diligence and always respected the boundaries, but in the coaching realm, I get to work on life and business. So helping women make money and heal through blocks and everything. And it's just, if I'm really honest, it's a lot more fun. It's not as heavy. I specialized in trauma, sexual and domestic violence, PTSD.
Oh, well, yeah, that's about as heavy as you can get.
Yeah. And then, add to that I did a lot of accreditation for suicide awareness, self-injurious behavior, which I still do speak on and run workshops on as requested. But the coaching is such a different vibe, and I'm loving it right now.
That's wonderful. So how does somebody get in touch with you if they want to do that? They want to engage your services. They go to primetics.com. Primetime. Sorry.
Yeah.
Primetime. Yeah, whoa. I don't know where I got that from.
Hey, it works. Primetimecs.com. And also on Instagram, all my links are in the bio on the link tree, everything to my website and the apply to work with me and all the things. I also run a community Badass Lady Boss Members Club, which is the lowest entry for people to work with me. And I have, we do bi-monthly coaching, and it's just a great space for women that are looking to up-level their life and make some money, maybe get a career promotion.
What's it called? Badass
Lady Boss Members Club.
Badass Lady. I'm writing this down because I'm going to put this in the show notes. Lady Boss Member. And where is this? Where do they find this?
It's on my website, but it's also in the link tree. There's a link specific to the Lady Boss Members Club, and it's a really good space for women that are just looking to upgrade mindset, have more connection. Nice. It's women only, obviously Lady Boss.
Makes sense.
But it's been a lot of fun. I launched that in December, and
so that's new.
Some great women in there. Yeah.
That's awesome. I just love how you're just leveling up in every area. You've got another book coming out. You're doing all this media and all these TV spots, and you just are this effervescent light. I just adore you. You're wonderful.
Aw, thank you. That means so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. When I saw you on the BSA, and you were a couple of Q&A calls and stuff, I was like, that's a woman to keep tabs on. So I did a bunch of perusing of your website.
Okay.
Just to really immerse myself in all things Christy. Um, could you talk to us a little bit about your books?
Yeah,
You've
gladly.
got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, I really do. And I have to because I get bored very easily. And so my books, yeah, my newest book that's just coming out is called Confessions of a Self-Care Junkie, A Woman's Journey to Loving Herself and Living Free. It's all about self-care from a holistic perspective. I highlight 6 topics.
Okay.
Uh, my other book, Primetime Success, it's all about shining and getting back in the driver's seat of your own life. And Exposed, Diary of a Self-Care Junkie, is a poetic compilation that my husband's an artist. I'm very fortunate. He did all the illustrations for and designed my book cover.
Wow.
And so I've always been a poet at heart. Poetry saved my life. I've been writing poetry since I was a very young girl.
Really?
And so it was really incredible to finally put that together, that compilation piece, and put it out. And I've contributed to a few different books as well, but these are my 3 solo babies. And Confessions, the one that's just about to release, is going to shake women up in a whole new way, and I can't wait.
When is it coming out?
It's going to be out in about a week.
Really? Oh, that's quick.
Yeah,
So
and I'll be having the launch. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say you're all uploaded to
I'm
everywhere
ready.
already. It's just waiting for the drop day.
Yeah. So I've told the publisher I'll be having my launch party in February, virtual launch party, and I'm really excited.
Let me know about that. I'll come.
Yeah, I will. 2.5 years. I wrote this book 2.5 years ago, and it's so vulnerable, and I'm so honest, and I unpack so much of my life, but also providing practical strategies to help women release shame and pain and turn their pain into their possibilities and live free, right, of opinions and judgment and self-criticism. That I sat on the book for a while until the publisher was like, either you're in or you're out. And I was like, I'm in.
Why were you hesitating?
Well, because it's scary as hell to put. I'm always the person that holds space for other people. And other than my husband, nobody knows the things that are revealed in this book, hence the title Confessions.
Right.
So I decided that if I've been through the things I've been through and, God delivered me, it's my mission to help other women. It's almost like a built-in toolkit for women is how I like to describe it. So
you're delivering, telling anecdotal things in an anecdotal way. You're talking about experiences that you had really close to the bone, but then you're also putting on your coach therapist hat and pulling out tools that you gleaned from those experiences.
Absolutely. And there's all kinds of journal prompts. There's strategies to help women, take action. So it's going to be well worth the wait.
I'm excited. I'm there. I want one. I want one. Yeah. In my memoir that came out over the summer, I talked about everything. Like I am literally, or metaphorically, I should say, standing naked in front of the world. Like I didn't hold anything back. And obviously we're human beings in relationships with others. So the stories and the experiences involve other people, but I was very careful as to tell them only from my perspective. And I changed everyone's names. So to protect the innocent from my exposure, I guess.
Yeah.
But a few people who've read it I guess I've had quite a few comments, I should say, about like, how did you have the chutzpah to say the things that you said? Like, and to me, I was just like, if I'm going to tell the story, I have to tell the whole story. There's no one, I do everybody a disservice, including myself, if I couch it. And if I stop a little bit short of the finish line, it does nobody any good. It's not cathartic for me. I don't learn anything. Forget it. It was either naked or nothing. Ooh,
absolutely.
Here's a title for a book.
Oh, write that down. Marcy claimed it.
Naked or nothing. I'm writing it down.
It's so true. And I just want to give you a shout out because when we do put ourselves out there in that capacity, we are liberating not only ourselves, but we're giving permission, no pun intended, because of the title of your podcast, but we're
Right.
giving
The title of
permission to
everything is permission. Absolutely.
yeah, every other woman, every other man. I mean, a lot of men buy my books, believe it or not, even though I write specifically to women. We're giving them permission to do the same. We carry the secrecy and shame with us, and emotional baggage, and we carry it into our relationships and our businesses and our careers and our
Right.
parenting. It's time to let it all go.
Just let it go. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You don't need anybody's permission but your own to do
that's right.
anything that you want to do.
That's right.
And I was always looking external to myself for validation, for permission to be me, like I was such a chronic people pleaser because of my childhood. And I carried that into every single relationship, work relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, everywhere.
All of it.
And until my 40s, it would be really hard. You'd have to look at my life with a magnifying glass to find Marcy in those things, because I was stifling myself and holding myself really small and really quiet so that I didn't make waves, so that people would be happy with me. I was so unsure of myself that I kept it all so close to the vest because I didn't want to risk being outcast. I didn't want to risk not feeling like I belonged or being accepted.
That resonates with me deeply. And you know what? I just want to say one of the reasons I'm so confident in putting this book out there is because I have the man that I have that stands beside me. My husband knows me inside out. He knows things he probably doesn't want to know.
Of course.
And he loves me and loves me hard. He loves me in my good times, my bad times, my great times. And he's really showed me just how worthy of love that I am. I mean, it had to come from me. I attracted him and called him in, right? But I went through a separation, divorce many years ago, and single motherhood, all those things. But when I met Anthony almost 17 years ago, it changed my life. And I know he'd tell you that I did the same for him, but he's one of the driving forces that no matter what people think of me, I get to wake up to my soulmate. So if you like my book, if you don't like my book, I'm still winning, in my opinion. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's been really helpful to have that support. And he's never read it. He just knows snippets, because I've said to him, I talk a lot about healthy sex and women reclaiming their sexual power. And he's like, oh boy.
See, my husband hasn't read my book either. He's read little pieces of it, but he hasn't read it because there's so much about it that is so traumatic, and he loves me in such a primal,
protective,
really palpable way that it's too painful for him to read those things. He knows all the stories anyway,
but he doesn't need
to re-expose himself, to re-immerse himself in all of those things. And my kids haven't read it, and they're 20 and 23, and I don't think my stepkids have read it either, and they're 26 and 32. I can only speak for my own biological children that there are things that they're not ready to learn about their mother, and that they don't really want to experience yet. So, but I did want them to read certain chapters. So I gave them a list. Okay, you're going to read chapter 6 and 16 and 32, like whatever.
Yeah.
And they read those chapters, and those are the ones we talked about. But otherwise, they didn't really want to go there. And I get it, probably not some things that, that they really need to know about their mom.
Yeah. And if they change their mind, they can read it later.
Exactly. They have autographed copies,
Of course. Right? A perk of you being their mother.
Exactly. And I've had students this year who have read it, and I don't know if it changes the nature of the student-teacher relationship. I would imagine
more respect for you.
Maybe. I know that I have students listening to this podcast,
Oh,
and it's a little
cool.
bit more accessible than reading a 400-page book. But
Hmm.
I think there's so many things that we women of a certain age have experienced. Even if our
Yes.
childhoods were rosy, there's still
Hmm.
stuff that you experience as a person going through life that if you could share the lessons that you've gleaned with other people, why wouldn't you? You know, if I
Absolutely.
had to go through the shit show of my childhood and figure out how to heal myself to become who I am today, then to me, if I'm not sharing that with other people, it's a waste, you know?
Yeah. I can't wait to send you a copy. And the biggest thing why, and you probably get this writing a memoir, there's so much about my life that people have no clue about because
Of
I don't
course.
talk about it. And the greatest intention is to help women heal inside out, yes, but
Right.
also so many people, especially those that know me or know of me or have seen me speak or whatever they think they know of me,
Right.
they're going to be like, holy shit, you've been through the ringer and you're still persevering. And you're like, I
Exactly.
beat every statistic against me. And part of the other intention is I want people to walk away inspired to take radical responsibility for their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ultimately, regardless of what has ever happened in our lives from the last minute from to the all the way back to the day we're born, we are still the only ones who can fix what we think is wrong, who can heal the
Hmm.
trauma, who can go for our dreams, who can tell us that we're worthy, who can we have to give ourselves permission to fight for every single bit of that. Maybe not fight, but like go
Yeah.
for every single bit of
Yeah.
that. No one's going to give it to us on a silver platter. And if they
That's
did,
right.
it wouldn't be worth anything.
That's right. So true.
We have to look inward for those things. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I was looking at your website. You have so many products available, so many things, journal prompts and power thought cards and healing your money story and attracting financial abundance and digital affirmations and on and on and on, like
Yeah.
all of this stuff. And like, I just want to like dive into all of this. Do you
Okay.
sleep ever?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I
you've
have a
got
really,
all of this stuff. It's amazing that you've been so organized and so creative and abundantly valuable. And
well, the secret to that now is a couple of years ago, I hired and invested in an incredible team. And I've been working now with an online business manager for quite some time who is incredible. I also have my own coaches and all the things, but the team has been vital in my ability to up level how I display things, get my audios done,
yeah,
create a power thought deck, which actually was created many years ago, but they've now made it digital. My books obviously are a product, but that's a different type of production,
yeah,
writing it and all the things. But yeah, every single thing I wanted to have items available so that I have free stuff as well, of course, but I wanted to have free low ticket items. I want to be
at
able
every
to
price point
allow,
to make
yes,
it all accessible. Yeah.
yes.
I could
And I
see from
want,
looking at it that that's what the goal was.
yes. And I want people to not fight for their limitations. I don't want them to be like, you know what, I can't afford $27. Yeah, the audio that's $27, the feedback has been incredible. It's changing people's lives. The book for $25. Like up into obviously high ticket services and stuff, but I wanted fun products that I love to create. I'm a creator, I'm a visionary and a creator, obviously. So I wanted to have those things available and then have them organized in a way that it wasn't overwhelming, but that you can like
Sure.
pick and choose. So
Yeah, it's
it's
done
fun to
very
create
nicely.
things. Thank
It's
you,
very
thank you so
clear.
much.
You're welcome. It's something that
That's
I
my
struggle with.
team.
I mean, I'm a one woman show. I don't have a team, and I've had an online art gallery for a few years now, and I was trying to figure out how do I combine the memoir and the journal book and the art, and I make my art into scarves, and how do I put that all on here, and how do I get the podcast. Like I was struggling for a long time how to organize it, because to me it made sense, but to no one else did this make sense. I think I finally got it to, after years, I finally got it to a place where it made sense.
Well, it is a journey, I will say that, because I took HTML coding. I took computer science in one of my degrees. And so I can code a website if I actually wanted to.
Wow. Yeah, but
But
it's so labor intensive and time
oh,
intensive that forget it.
yeah. And when I first started out, I did create my own website, but now I've spent almost 14, 15 grand on it. And which I don't think you need to do. I look back and I'm like, some of that was a waste of money. But anyways, now it functions, it flows. I have a team that manages it. I can literally say, hey, I need this moved or this put up, and
it just happens.
They handle it. But I do empathize and understand what it's like when you are a one-woman show, because I did that for many years.
And yeah, I think you and I need to talk after this, because I have all of these ideas and no clear way of figuring out what to do, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, how to make it sort of happen.
Yeah.
While teaching and shaping the minds of adolescents, that pays the mortgage. That is my calling. I want to do all this other stuff too, but there's only 24 hours in a day. So I have to prioritize what I'm going to do. All right. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. No one needs to hear about that. Or maybe they do. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure you're not alone. I can tell you that. I've worked with so many women that are starting or trying to figure out their business while they're managing their career and their families. And what I always say is you can do it all, but not all at once. And we'll chat later. But for anyone listening, just be inspired that if you have a vision or a dream on your heart, it is possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So what do you mean by the phrase disrupting normal? I saw that a few times on your website in stuff that you write. What do you mean by that?
Well, I love when I'm doing corporate sales trainings and I'm like, okay, gentlemen, I'm a disruptor. And they're thinking, oh, geez, here comes this blonde woman who's going to talk about disruption. And it's funny because when I talk about disrupting, I talk about disrupting thoughts, disrupting habits. We live on autopilot most of the time.
Right.
And so I like to get in there and shake things up and help people figure out what's going on, what's the root cause, and then let it go. Figure out rewiring thoughts, creating new feelings and behavior. And if we don't disrupt what we're doing and shake it up and sort it out, then we're not going to be creating the life that we want to wake up to every day. We're just going to be living on autopilot, doing all the things that we've been doing, and usually fantasizing about a better life.
Yeah. A lot of people do that. They think about the things that they wish they could do, and they don't really feel empowered to be able to do it. Like they're waiting for some external magician to just show up and say, there you go. It doesn't happen that way.
No. The other thing too, I love using the word disruptor with women because I believe that for so long we thought we had to either be pretty or smart. We were either leaders or followers or whatever label we, and I'm all about women that are unapologetically intelligent, beautiful, and owning their fierce factor, showing up and not apologizing for being smart, not apologizing for having opinions, raising their hand and being seen and heard. And that's,
leaning in and claiming their seat at the table unapologetically.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that with the teenage girls, that so many of them are, I think, being pressured by that old adage that girls should be quiet and not smart, that the boys find it intimidating, or that boys don't like smart girls, or I don't know what it is they're telling themselves at this point. But I see girls who absolutely know the answers, who absolutely have clear thoughts and opinions, not sharing them.
They play it down.
They so play it down. And being somebody who used to do that, diminish myself to make other people feel better. Like, hell freaking no. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And there's a better way, because you can be smart. I actually believe that intelligence is attractive.
Oh, absolutely. It's the sexiest thing.
It is. I want to be able to converse with somebody, and I don't want to have just superficial, fluffy conversations.
No,
It's like, have
superficial
you ever?
fluff turns me off.
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever heard of the game Trivial Pursuit?
Oh my God, of course. Absolutely.
Okay, so when I first was dating my husband before we were married, we've been married 15 years this year, and I was like, I want to play Trivial Pursuit, and he was like, oh my God, I love that game. I was like, I am so into your nerdiness.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like you're right now. So many young, beautiful girls are trying to play up different they're trying to work different avenues of their body or get things working for them. And it's like, own your personality, own your intelligence, be proud of being smart, raise
Right.
your hand, answer the question, and don't downplay yourself, because anyone worthy of being in your space is going to want you to be the real you.
Of course. And if they don't,
Right?
they shouldn't be in your space to begin with.
That's right.
That's the thing that I think I would tell my younger self. That's
Oh, good one.
the message I would want younger Marcy to know,
Mm-hmm.
that it wasn't her job to make other people like her. It was her job to make herself like herself.
Yes. So important.
And to trust the little inner whispers of my heart that I was ignoring for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And so many people can relate to that. I mean, I can certainly relate to that. If I could pick a second thing to tell my
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
I would say stop hanging out with losers. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the guys that, and I don't mean this in a negative name calling way, I just mean in people that were like going nowhere fast,
Right.
but they were the quote unquote popular guys.
Yeah.
And I
You don't want to
mean,
peak too early in life. You really don't.
no. And I would have been like, Christy, just take the bus home.
Right.
Say no to the ride and just take the bus home.
Right. He may have a cool car, but that's where the flash ends. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. People who just have no path. I mean, what is that phrase that you are the average of the people, the five people who hang out with the most?
Yeah.
You got to up level those people if you want to get places,
Yes.
I've had in my past too many friends who I hung out with, aligned myself with, who were not ambitious, who were perfectly happy, hanging out, having a few beers on a Friday night and just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like that
working for the weekend.
Right. Like not ever was that enough for me. And many times I've like abandoned whole friend groups and just emblazoned a new trail and started out on my own and forced myself to sort of meet new people. It's like a weight around your ankles.
Yes. Oh, same. We have so much in common, girl. You have no idea.
Yeah. Or what about all those people when you're starting to make success in your life and you feel really good about it? And then there's a whole shit ton of people who you thought were your friends who now don't talk to you because they don't understand why you're doing the things you're doing or how you're doing the things that you're doing. And rather than cheer on for you, they're just,
Yeah. I have a saying, I stick to it, and I remind myself sometimes it's not as easy as other times, but elevation requires separation.
It does.
And when we're going to elevate and we're going with our vision and we're believing in ourselves and taking the leap of faith and figuring it out and all the fail ups along the way, we have to elevate and separate and sort our circle.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to write that down too. Wow. I'm getting such great out of here. This is wonderful.
Good. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, this is awesome. So I just love this question. Can you share a story about the funniest mistake you ever made when you were first starting your business?
Yeah, I actually just shared a funny story in my article on Authority Magazine, so I'll choose something different. I don't know if I find them funny. I'm actually, as much as I'm comical, I'm a very intense person.
Maybe quirky instead. I don't know.
Yeah,
offbeat, ironic. Doesn't have to be laughably funny.
I'm going to start with the whole, as soon as I started my business, I ordered thousands of brochures, thousands of business cards, had a big ass banner made, my logo designed, and spent all this money, and I had nowhere to go to hand them out. I had no idea what they held storage in my office space for a long time before I got into like networking events, and I started speaking. I've been a paid speaker for almost 17 years, and I've been
Wow.
speaking all my life. I won my first speaking contest when I was 8. So finding those events to hand that stuff out, like, it's funny because it was a lot of money up front. And if I had a thought, I took business at university level. I mean, like, if I had a thought it through, I would have progressively built up my
Cache of stuff. Yeah.
exactly. And it's funny looking back because I'm in a totally different space now.
Right.
But at the time, I remember my husband being like, babe, what are you doing with all that stuff? I'm like, well, you help me figure out who to buy it from. My husband designed a lot of it.
Right.
And of course I paid another designer as well. But I spent a lot of money on these upfront materials that I probably still have some. I mean, I've had different cards and things made over the years, of course.
Right.
But
you probably still have some of the originals sitting around somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, 10 years ago when I started my company, social media was not, I mean, Instagram didn't exist.
Right.
Clubhouse was never a thing. That's just
No,
me.
I mean, that was just like
Twitter.
a year ago.
Yeah, like you couldn't do a Facebook Live on Facebook.
No. So social media wasn't what it is now.
So I relied
Absolutely.
on these tangible materials, right?
Right.
But Marcy, you have to have people to give them to.
Right. Otherwise, they're just collecting dust sitting in your office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. When I order business cards, because I know I'm very changeable and I change my mind about things all the time. And I'm committed to an idea, but I know in a month I'm going to think of something else that I'm going to want to say instead. So I only order 75 at a time or 50 at a time. And
yeah, so you're thinking.
For mailings and stuff.
I think I had 5,000 brochures.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm talking, I
can't commit. I just can't commit.
I can laugh about it now.
Well, that's good. That's good. Excellent. Okay, so the book comes out next week.
Yes.
And book launch in February.
Yeah, the 18th.
February 18th.
February
Awesome.
18th at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And where is it going to be?
It's going to be right here in my house because we're on lockdown here in Ontario.
No, I mean like online.
Oh,
how do people get it?
Yes, so there'll be all kinds of emails and invites, but it's going to be on my Facebook page, which is just under Christy Primmer, and I'm going to be streaming live on my Instagram as well.
That's awesome. Okay, because I will write all of this in the show notes so that it's all there. I will make sure that this runs before that. I'll rearrange.
Oh, that'd be incredible. Thank you so much.
I'll rearrange so that it makes
I'm going to have some surprises and giveaways. It's going to be fun. I'm making the best of it, right? I mean,
yeah, that's awesome.
It is what it is.
When I was doing my book launch I had, the whole time that I was writing and going through all the editing process and everything, I had this idea, because I'm an artist too, I was going to rent space in an art gallery where my daughter works and use the whole space and hang up my art. And I was going to hire a local guitarist I know and have a few of my friends do poetry readings from their poetry books and make like a whole multimedia, multi-sensory event and have food and drink. And I was going to read and have a book signing. And it will happen eventually when we can have more than 10 people in a room at a time.
Oh, yeah.
But I did a thing on July 1st, and I had those same two poets read. We had to can the music idea because that just wouldn't work. And I invited like hundreds of people. I think I only had like 50 show up, but that was fine. It was good. We couldn't fit more in a Zoom anyway. And
right.
And we just, I've learned so much since then, but it was fun. We had champagne. I had giveaways and raffles, and I gave away it was like summer beach read. So I gave away beach bags with custom beach towels, and the beach bags were made out of my art.
Cool.
And it was fun. I liked it.
I love it. I'm
excited for yours. I'm definitely going to come.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yay.
Maybe you'll be a winner.
Maybe, well, I'm already am.
Love it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming and for doing this with me and sharing all this stuff and telling us all about how to be a disruptor in our own lives. And Christy,
I've
you're just
loved that.
fabulous.
You are, Marcy. I feel like this is the thing. I've been getting more selective about what podcasts I can do, because as I'm doing more media, I've got to really choose what's aligned. And I love the concept of why you're doing it, and your energy is incredible. You're so talented.
Oh, thank you.
And I think you taking the time to host and to ask the questions, your questions are amazing. It makes it fun. So thank you. And to everyone listening, this has been a lot of fun. I'd love to hear what their takeaways are.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. So please, if you're listening and you've liked what you've seen, heard, not seen supposedly, but you've liked what you've heard, please, leave us a comment, leave a review wherever you
Yes.
listen to podcasts. You can send me an email at marcybrockman@gmail.com if you'd like. I would love to read them. And you can find both of us all over social media. All of our links and so on will be in the show notes. So,
and screenshot they're listening to your podcast, give a review, tag us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm running a raffle now between now and February 12th. All the people who do reviews of the podcast will potentially win a free hardcover signed copy of my book. So
amazing.
So, we're waiting. Reviews.
I love it. TikTok.
Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you so much. This has been incredible.
This is super fun.
This is the most fun podcast I've done in a long time.
Well,
sorry to anyone else. Maybe I shouldn't have said that on air, but it's true. I've had such a good time with you.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.